What is up, fellow game developers? My name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to the Muddy Wolf Studio channel. In this video we'll be continuing on with our 2D platformer game, and we're going to be looking at the camera controller, so making the camera follow the player but be confined to a certain space. As you can see in this video here, the player can run around the scene and the camera will follow, but it will not go out of bounds. So that is what we're going to be building today. Let's get started. Okay guys, now we are back in Unity and we have our player. Obviously the issue is the camera doesn't follow the player. We can easily do that by using Cinemachine and basically making it follow our player. And we can set up some rules for how it follows our player, if we want it to follow instantly, or if we want it to have a bit of a different sort of dampening on it and stuff like that. So we can add that on. So first thing you need to do is install Cinemachine. I already have it installed, but I'm going to show you where you would go to install it. So you need to go to Window, Package Manager, type in Cinemachine, and then click Install. And this will install it to your machine. Once you have done that, we can now go Cinemachine, create 2D camera, bring it to the top, and then you can see on the right here we have the camera, and our main camera will be added the Cinemachine brain. We can go back to this camera and you can see all the settings, but we need to basically give it a player to follow. So we're going to drag in our player into the follow section. As you can see, the camera has now snapped down to our player, although it is off the screen. So first thing I'll do is set this to 0.6, which will make the camera sit slightly above the player. The next thing I will do is give it a dead zone. So I want to set the height of this dead zone to around 0.4 and the dead zone on the width to about maybe the same, maybe a bit bigger, 0.5. So we have this rectangle where we can walk around and the camera won't move or follow us until we go out into this blue area. We can turn off this window guides by clicking up here so you don't see them, but I like to keep them on for now while I'm working with the camera. Once we've done this, obviously we can hit play and you can see how the player moves and the camera moves with the player. So if we move over to the right, you can see it starts following the player, and it's quite a smooth camera follow. And as you see, we can go over to the edge. And then if we go back to our left, you can see we're now over on the left here. One of the issues with this is obviously we don't want the camera to be able to see over here, and we don't want it to see below at the bottom. So we can add something called a confiner to our camera. But first we need to set up something to actually confine it within. So let's right click in our prototype, or in our hierarchy, add a new game object and call it camera bounce. We then want to reset the transform and we want to give it a layer. We want to give it a layer of camera bounce. Go back to it, set the layer to camera bounce, and we need to go up into edit, project settings, and untick, oh it's already unticked, but untick the default, ground and collidable objects within our physics 2D matrix or collision matrix. This will just mean our player, when we add a box collider to our outer edge, it won't push our player around. Once you have added the camera bounce layer, we now need to add a composite collider 2D. We need to set the rigid body to static and change the geometry type to polygons. We then need to add a box collider 2D and go back to our scene view, and we can see this scene. Now these edges are going to be the box which our camera has to stay within. So now we need to stretch these out to where we want it. So I'm going to bring this right over here just to match it, even come in just slightly, just so it matches perfectly there. I'm going to bring it all the way down, make sure it's hitting the bottom here just about. And then for the left and right, I'm just going to freehand this and just throw it straight out a little bit further than the actual player area, so we can actually move around in this area, so the camera can actually breathe, essentially. So let's untick that and click Used by Composite. And now this collider should be able to be our camera's confiner. So if we go over to our camera, our Cinemachine camera, we can add an extension to this called the Cinemachine confiner. We then need to drag in our camera bounds into the bounding shape 2D, and as you can see, our camera is now fixed and locked inside this box and it cannot go out of it. So if we now hit play, you can see our camera isn't going out of the world. If we go to the right, you can see it only goes so far and then it won't go anymore. And height as well. Obviously I think I've made it a bit high, so I might not be able to jump that high. but you can see it actually got stuck there just slightly, which is perfect. So that is how you create the confiner, and it won't go any further left. I can run off the screen and fall to my death. Obviously we need to add some actual bounds there, but that is how you create a camera which, following script, or not even a script, how to make the camera follow your player in Unity 2D. There's not much else you can do with this. You can mess around with some of these settings if you want to try and make it a bit smoother or anything like that. You can try changing the dampening speed, the camera distance, the height of it, and everything else, just to see how you would like it to look. But for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out and keep muddy.